all of us, all of us in Jet Nation can just have that exhale. The season is over. Now, whether you need that shot of hope or that dose of reality, I can promise you, you are going to receive that thing on this show today. I'm telling you right now, this show is the best Jets show on all of YouTube. It's called Boy Green Meets Wudi, and we're live.
Can you guys help us get a Jet chant here? Yeah, going.
Oh.
Okay, yeah. Come on in. Yeah.
Okay, let's go! J-E-T-S, Jet, Jet, Jet! Let's go! J-E-T-S, Jet, Jet, Jet! Let's go! There you go, Wudi!
Third Party Thursday.
Chris joining us here on the program with a capital P here on the program.
Jake Asman, come on down. How you doing, good sir?
Wow, what an intro. I mean, Boy Green is known for having the intro, but Wudi, that was unreal, man. Thanks for the kind words, son.
We are men of many names.
My favorite Austrian Jets fan right there, baby.
Boy Green
Meets Wudi. Welcome to another episode of Boy Green Meets Wudi. It is your boy, James Wudi, and you already know we are Wudi, rocking everywhere. Right here, my man, she got Bart on the shirt. Come on now. We talking about the boy who became king, none other than Paul Esden Jr. And I told you right now, I firmly believe this is the best Jets show on YouTube. And I pretty much explained it why in that cold open. All right, if you need that shot of hope, all right, this was a down year by all metrics. If you need that, yeah, hey, come on now, make sure you find a vein, get that. All right, you will get it. All right, courtesy of my guy, my co-host. All right, with this show. But if you also need that dose of reality, there goes gravity. There's somebody here that can do that as well. So no matter where you are on that spectrum, on that line, there is somebody to talk to you right here, right now. We are live. How are you doing, Mr. BG?
Well, there's all these different feelings. Season ends, and there's a sadness at some point that a season ends because that means our sort of weekly routine of third-party Thursdays with our Bills guest, Jets guest, all these other guests that have joined us throughout the entire show, that being over is sad in a way. It's happy in a way because, oh, thank God, 3-14, a merciful end for the love of God. So that's something. And then there's supposed to be a seismic off season for speculation and God knows what. So that's another factor too. And then, the addressing the state of the union of what has happened and what is to come. So Darren, Mougey, and AG spoke for about 20 minutes today. For their presser. It was not live streamed. It was uploaded after the fact, so I combed through it, listened to every word they said, wrote it down, all my notes here about who was what was what stood out in a lot of ways. So we're gonna dive in before we do all the wonderful off-season content that we have, Wudi, coming up over the next couple of months. I mean, This felt like another newsy thing to cover. That will occasionally happen here during this offseason. This felt like a very newsy thing that I think a lot of people are interested in. So I'm looking forward to get the scuba gear on and diving into the deep end of the pool.
Of course. I mean, come on now. For some reason, so many things happen on Tuesdays. So I feel like it's always like the current event day of the week. And that's what we are. This is a show that is current, always delivering news, always delivering backdrops to the news, to help you know how to feel, right, to the events that take place. So I promise you, there will be a lot of feeling with some of these things that occurred today. But kudos to them addressing the fan base. I think we deserved some answers. I'm not sure if they really gave us, anything we ever heard before, but we can talk about that.
Yeah, I'm going to go right for the jugular here. Sometimes you tease people and say, ooh, stay tuned. In 10 minutes, we might be talking about this one thing. I want to go right to it. To me, the most seismic thing that was said or stated at this press conference by either Darren Mougey or Aaron Glenn is this that I'm throwing up on your screen. Darren Mougey was asked the question, how long is it going to take, in your mind, Darren Mougey, for the Jets to be competitive and respectable? Darren Mougey said it with his full chest. Well, like almost like not quite a scoff that feels like I'm overreacting to it too much, but what are you talking about? He didn't say that part. I believe we could be, what is on your screen is a direct quote from Mougey. I believe we could be competitive and respectable right away next year. And then there was several seconds of silence from the media like, oh, okay, all right. So I turned that to you, Wudi, because, some of that, the Jets, pressure to win may seem a little obvious because they're coming off a 3-14 year and Woody's going to be hovering. You would think that, like, wow, you guys better win or else something could happen. But to hear Darren Mougey say that with such emphaticness, to me, should be hopefully encouraging to Jet fans. Like, oh, thank God, they don't, even though they signed whatever deals they did, I assume Mougey's, I don't know if that ever became public, was a 5-year deal, whatever. They're not saying, like Joe Douglas, I signed a 6-year deal, baby. I'm being here for a while. We'll figure it out. Like, there does seem to be a sense of urgency here. And to be competitive and respectable, well, those are two things we just didn't see this past season, Woody. So that would be refreshing.
I mean, this is the same regime that, said, oh, we here to win now. So anyone who is taking this quote and getting hype, doing a cartwheel, turn that wheel right back around. Like, what are you doing? Like, these dudes, they love to yap. Off-season legends. My God. Oh, we the New York Jets, we freaking built for this shit. But he has not shown me anything. Now, to dissect the quote itself, like, is it actually possible that the New York Jets can be competitive and respectable next year? Yes. Of course. They have 2 first-round. I mean, they got 4 picks in the top 44. That's a treasure chest right there. And then all that cap space. Now, I don't know how many free agents are, dumb enough to come to this team and play for somebody who might not even be here tomorrow, but we'll see who they can trick, who they can hypnotize to accept, or who they can overpay to accept some deals. But that treasure chest, that 4 picks in 44, if you just hit on 3 of them, depending on what positions they play, I mean that's a huge boost to your team. So I would say it's definitely possible. Is it likely? Allow me to answer that the best way I know how. Hell no. What are you talking about? This coach stinks. The coach stinks. They don't know what they're doing. They keep talking about we're going to evaluate. If I took a shot every single time they said the word evaluate during this press conference, I would be blackout drunk right now. Because they just running their mouth. And again, for those who want to say, oh, come on now, look at the glasses half full. All you have to look at is their initial press conference. We're here to win now. We're here to use the talent, the foundation. It's so funny because Aaron Glenn said the foundational players, we're going to build around them. And what did they do this past season? They shipped their foundational players all across the country. So, I don't believe none of this. Is it theoretically possible? Yes, but it is not likely, and this did not make me bat an eye.
It's an impossible question. It's not the can they. Sure, that's sure. They can do anything they want. They can. Will they be? Like, predict it right now? I can't. Who the hell's playing quarterback? You give me that answer, and maybe I can give you a few more details about whether or not I feel confident in that answer. At this point, we don't know who the quarterback is, and I imagine they're blowing up the entire quarterback room. So Tyrod, see ya. Justin Fields, see ya. So trade, free agency, draft, perhaps. There's going to be a lot of different entry points here to this quarterback room. So we don't know any of it. So anyone that's making prognostications about who the hell will be the Jets winning or losing, and until we find out the quarterback, no one can confidently answer that question to me either way. If you were to take a lean to what you just said, your point, like, wow, they've had 1 winning season in 15 years. My bet, not knowing who the quarterback is they're going to be bad again. So until they prove you and everyone else in the universe wrong, well, I mean, we're going to be there for quite some time. Wudi, we'll work in your graphic now because we didn't get a statement or press conference at this point from Woody Johnson. Sometimes you see that from some owners and things. They play by their own rules. The only time we hear from the owners will be at the annual league meetings, which will be coming up here in a couple of months. That will be a guaranteed time we hear from Woody. But if he decides to do any impromptu press conference, that's totally up to him. So we'll pull this up here, your beautiful graphic here, about the 6 openings we have in the National Football League. Pete Carroll, his old ass, see ya, gone. Old Jonathan Gannon, pew, pew, pew. He just did a self-inflicted pew, and he dead. He gone. He's fired. Brian Callahan, been fired. That body's cold. Brian Dable, that body's cold. He been fired. And then Kevin Stefanski, that's some fresh meat from yesterday. The Cleveland Browns HC, apparently is now the most attractive candidate of the pool, and he is doing multiple interviews. So this is the pool. And while I see you didn't put any words there in front of AG, the fact that he just did the State of the Union press conference is about as close to safe as you could get, besides everyone else over the weekend also confirming he was safe. So he will be back in 2026.
Yeah, pretty disgusting stuff if you ask me. I mean, what we're looking at pretty clearly is the bottom of the barrel in the NFL. And these 5 organizations said, you know what, this isn't good enough. This isn't our brand. We need a change. We need an improvement. And the Jets are like, oh, nope, we're okay being ass. That's all right. We can stay here for a couple more years. And as CBW, my guy, I mean, we've been in lockstep for quite some time, pointed out, is that it's not, AG is not the first, or it's not the only first-year coach here, all right? Pete Carroll, one and done. And for Pete Carroll to be one and done, this is somebody who's been to the Super Bowl multiple times, with Super Bowl winning coach, all right? I would be more inclined to trust that Pete has a plan as opposed to AG, who clearly did not have a plan that even he believed in, giving up on players 7 games in, giving up on his own QB, his exalted QB after 9 games, giving up on his DC. I mean, he did not have a plan that even he believed in. So I'm not sure how we're supposed to believe if you don't even believe. But, yeah, it's rough living for the Jets at the bottom of the barrel. And not sure if we're going to make any waves this year.
Yeah, we'll have more to come on AG, an interesting comment he made about the belief and all that, the trust and things of that nature. We'll get into that in a little bit. Again, we have 200 people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe, baby, if you're watching on YouTube. Hit that like button. Me and Wudi do shows every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 o'clock, whether in season or out of season. There's no off season for Boy Green Meets Wudi. We're always here for you. One of the ones I found fascinating, you may think the topic may be dated, but there is a fresh appeal to it, is AG at the end of this presser was asked, so, Steve Wilkes obviously failed. You hired him. That was one of the things you just pointed out. They gave up on his DC. He hired this guy, and there were 3 weeks left to go, or 3 games left to go. He fired him. So AG was asked, and I'll throw this up, just the screenshot. He was asked, like, why the hell did you hire Wilkes? Like, what was the thought process? Now that you did it, you went through with it, he had the season, you fired him, and now you're reviewing that information as you're about to hire another DC. What happened? And Wilkes said Glenn said there were 2 reasons why he hired Wilkes. Number one, he's a former head coach, and he said that was beneficial to him being a first-year guy. We all knew that. That's not some surprise secret reason, that he thought that would be very beneficial. The second reason I find interesting is that Steve Wilkes, the defense he just ran this past season, if you want to call it a defense, what he attempted to run as a defense this past season was the same defense he ran in 2023 with the San Francisco 49ers that went to the Super Bowl, according to Coach Glenn. And his thought process was, and he didn't say some of these extra details I'm saying, but we can all connect the dots. His thought process was this. Robert Saleh was here before he was. The bones of this old 49ers defense was here. Let me hire Wilkes, a guy who's going to run that same San Francisco defense, keep the schematics as familiar as possible with a handful of tweaks here or there, so that in theory will help these players. I don't have to teach them Guatemalan. They're going to be speaking the same language they've been speaking. That should make things easier. And that's one of the reasons he hired him, because he said, hey, I can let this experienced DC run the operation and I can manage the entire team. And that's basically what AG explained in his answer here. You can watch all the clips on my Twitter account at BoyGreen25, and I shared a few of them on Instagram. Again, this goes back to, again, obviously the decision was wrong. It seems right in theory, though, that he picked an experienced guy, he picked a former head coach, and he picked someone that the Saleh bones to go to a 49ers guy makes a lot of sense on paper. That I thought the Wilks hire made sense before, but until Glenn just explained it in this way, that makes it even more clear that he had a plan, and the plan sucked. So he has blood on his hands for that sucking. But the fact of the matter is, to try to use what Saleh already had here in a poor man's version of it, that makes a lot of sense, Wudi, to be honest with you.
I mean, definitely the first, we all, can agree on the first being a great reason. When Wilks was hired, I did applaud the decision. I think a lot of us did, but I'll only speak for myself. I definitely applauded the decision. Now, if we're talking schematics, like, he did not, like, I didn't see that quote actually specifically, like how Aaron Glenn said it, but like, they didn't run the Saleh offense this year.
Defense, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Sorry, the defense. Yeah, they did not run that defense this year. So I don't know what he was thinking. Also, to use that as a basis to hire somebody, Kyle Shanahan hated Steve Wilks. Literally hated Steve Wilks. Completely blamed the reason why they couldn't get over the hump on Steve Wilks. He was one and done.
But they did go to the Super Bowl, even if Shanahan hated his guts. Now, sure, you can have the worst defense in NFL history and still make the Super Bowl, maybe. Maybe there's a world where that happens, but I don't have all their numbers in front of me. But they did go to the Super Bowl with him being the defensive coordinator, even if Shanahan hates his guts.
They're literally in the middle of a dynasty where they have that Shanahan offense. I mean, McCaffrey, Kittle. They also have talented players in Fred Warner, Nick Bosa. They have a lot of talent. So I'm going to give Steve Wilks approximately zero credit, because it was Saleh, right? They went, and then Raheem Morris. It was literally a plug and play job. And guess who was the only one to only be there 1 year because he absolutely stunk and the defense was the worst of the bunch of the last 7 years? That was Steve Wilks. So to look at a year where he was considered a failure by his former employer, that's actually kind of troubling, to be like, oh yeah, that's what we're gonna do. And he came here and he didn't run the same defense. And I guess, like we already have said, in hindsight, it wasn't a good move. I'm definitely not gonna dock him for the thought process, though, of the foresight of trying to, okay, let me get somebody who's done this before, been a head coach, he can help me out. You want to say the Niners thing, okay, maybe he's blinded by, you're blinded, not blinded, but, the Super Bowl thing. But if you dig deep, like, you ask the 49ers fans, the people inside the building, he was an albatross that they carried to the Super Bowl. He was not at any point making any positive decision to get them there. So that, that kind of, worries me a little bit, but it's fine. It's in the past.
All right, let's stay on defense here. So AG said he's not married to one of these things or the other. There are some quotes I think are going to get overreacted to by other shows. We don't do that here on this show. We're all straight with you. But there are going to be some shows out there that overreact to a quote I'll bring up a little bit later. But I don't think it should be. But we'll get to that later. Let's stay on defense for a second. AG was asked, does he have a preference between okay, you just tried the experience thing and that failed. Are you going for experience again? Or would you go with the first timer that just has a lot of upside? Essentially Chris Banjo, basically, but a defensive coordinator. AG said he has made no decision either way, but one of his important things is synergy. We'll get back to that level of comment too, because we'll splice through everything. But let me ask you, should he have a preference? Right now, he does not. Darren Mougey, his opening statement to this press conference explained what the next couple of days are going to be like. They're finishing off the rest of the player exit interviews today. Mougey said he did 50 of the, what would that be? 68. So he did 50 of the 68 yesterday, and then he has another 20-ish to go to finish off all the player interviews today. Then they have coaching interviews where they bring everybody in one by one, go through that whole process. So they won't fully go through this process till later this week. So AG says he doesn't have an answer yet before he dives into coordinator interviews and stuff of that nature. But he, at this moment, does not have a preference between whether this next guy is going to be super experienced or just someone with upside. Should he have, my question to you, Wudi, is should he have a preference? Should it be one or the other as he's looking for his next DC? And if so, which, of course?
Yeah, I think we all, like fans, would prefer, someone with experience.
I guess it depends on the name, to be honest with you.
Yes, but no, I don't think he should have a preference though.
Okay.
I think that's, and that's part of the problem with this current regime is that a lot of times they say the right things. I would say, 9 times out of 10, it's like, oh, we're gonna attack the penalties. We have refs at camp, and we have a fumbling issue. So we're walking around with this big, Cassius Clay glove, like they doing all these things and saying all the right things, but we just haven't seen anything come to fruition. So when you talk about the DC, I would actually completely agree that more important than experience versus non-experience is synergy of, we gotta all be on the same page of what we're trying to accomplish, and how we're gonna get there. So I would say, as far as answers go, that was probably one of the better, if not maybe even the best answer we received.
Yeah, that one felt very, and there's other Glenn answers I really like too about accountability and stuff. We can get into those in a little bit. But yes, Glenn, when asked, hey, and he had a nice little, and again, it's on my Twitter. It's too long of a clip to play here, but it's basically like 3 minutes. It's back and forth. Media question, Glenn. And it's all the same subject matter, like 3 questions in a row. So I paired it all together. It's about this defense coordinator thing. What are you looking for? What's most important? What are you factoring in? And all these different things. And yeah, that synergy thing makes sense because, again, while Glenn knew of Wilkes, like his reputation, which apparently should have scared him away, but he knew of his reputation. But they didn't have, like, again, a synergy of whether, and that was another kind of huge follow-up. Is it synergy personality-wise or synergy schematics? And it's both is the real answer to that question. So that was fascinating to me. So, yeah, I like that AG is giving us answers so we can try to get some insight into the thought process as they're going to go through these coordinator interviews that we're inevitably going to hear from. So we'll see, is the next guy a guy they AG has directly worked with before? Like, literally, he was the defense coordinator and someone was a linebacker coach. Is it going to be that close, or is it all his walks of life, which has been Saints, Browns, all these different places? Is that potential where it connects? But to your point about maybe fans would prefer an experienced guy, like you could tell me a Jim Leonard who's not as experienced, but there's all this upside. I'm like, he's coming from a smart place in Denver. They have a killer defense. He's a former player. He was heralded when he played for his intelligence. He did call, he was the defensive coordinator in college at Wisconsin. So there's some of those things where he isn't Jim Schwartz of experience, but he's very intriguing, and you could tell me on that. And then there is, to the name I just said, there's like a Jim Schwartz of, whoa, this guy is over. He's got like 30 years of defensive coordinator experience. This guy knows what the hell he's doing. So, yeah, there are intriguing names. I guess it sort of depends. But at this point, gun to my head, I lean towards experience versus someone new and upside. But again, new and upside is scary because you can flop terribly, but it could also be Chris Banjo, which was a friggin' home run. So, you sort of got to weigh those battles. Certainly here. Now, Wudi, here's the quote that I think people are going to blow the fucking shit out of. And it's going to, like, people are going to be like, oh boy, this Glenn guy, I'm not so sure. So he was non-committal on staff changes, right? Now, the context to that, which are very important, that I think is going to get lost when people misrepresent that quote, is Mougey already talked about at the beginning of the press conference that they go through a process throughout this entire week before they get to coaches. So AG said he wouldn't consider, like, hey, would you, are you guys going to make a staff change? He said, I can't answer that right now. we have to go through our whole process basically. So I don't. People should not blow that out of proportion. That's not it. But I love the follow up from Connor Hughes. He said, "Okay, let's put firings aside because you're not ready to talk about that yet. What about additions to the staff? Would you be willing to do that? Just add new people to staff?" And AG was very upfront, and he said, "I'm always for adding good people to the staff." And he was talking about offense, defense, and everything in between. Let me ask you, Wudi. First off, feel free to react to any of that. But specifically, what do you want to see most in terms of an addition? We could talk about firing separately, but as an addition to the staff, what do you want to see? Is it an offensive thing? Is it a defensive thing? Is it a specific name, or is it something sort of in general that you're looking for? This staff is missing, but they could use that ingredient in the rest of the recipe here.
Real quick before I answer, I just want to shout out my guy active right now on the Instagram in the Insta chat, Mr. Dylan Terriman, my guy. Ooh, yes. I've been trying to collab with my guy for a little bit of time, man. I hope we can cook something up. I appreciate you watching the show, engaging on Insta. So nothing but love. We gotta bring you in for a chat.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that. In terms of talking about additions, I think Boy Green, you actually said this. I want to say the last episode about the that senior advisor for the offense, really more like quarterback structured. I mean, we have failed so miserably as an organization to develop a quarterback, and that one chance that we did have to bring in somebody respected, we know how that tragically went, unfortunately. So I feel like that's a huge deal, especially if the plan is to draft a new quarterback, Dante or Fernando or Trinidad, whoever is coming in. You need that. And I don't think, our current QB coach, well, again, we're not talking about firings. You can just still add somebody on top of what they have. So I think that is absolutely key. Because even they brought in Justin Fields, and they could not produce Fields' best, his
correct,
best,
right.
So they can't even develop or bring the best out of an existing QB. So I don't know how we're supposed to trust them to take this, little infant QB coming into the league and, have them grow. So I think that is definitely the most important thing, is to bring in a respected, trusted voice on that side. Tanner Engstrand is doing this job for the first time. I'm not going to overly criticize him, but just to have a veteran voice to just kind of what's the word, like challenge things, should we be doing this, should we be doing that, definitely is I feel like it's an absolute need.
Yeah, I would agree. I'd concur on the offensive stuff. Again, to bring somebody in there, whatever the role is, it could be senior offensive analyst, it could be quarterback coach, it could be a lot of things. It could be a made-up title. It could be a lot of different things here on offense. So just because you said that, I'll go to defense, and I'll just say I just want creativity on defense. Someone said, it might have been in this comment section, might have been a different show that I've hosted. They said one of their criticisms of AG is that they don't think there will ever be a moment in AG's tenure as the Jets coach, however long it lasts, where he's going to win a chess match. Like the other side of the opponent is going to be like, oh, geez, what's AG cooking up over there? Like Rex Ryan had this amoeba defense where everyone was constantly in flux, in motion before the snap. Like only the defensive tackle would be on the ground with both hands in the dirt, and then everyone else was like moving around. You're like, what the hell? Like almost that Myles Garrett basketball thing he did earlier this season, where you like crisscross, and then the guy's like, wait, he's coming over here, no, he's coming over here, and then they're like, oh my god, what is about to hit? Where the hell is this pressure coming from? So whether it's old or new, I won't be an ageist and specify, but creativity on defense would be fun. That there was just so much bad with this Jets defense, but if I had to hone in on something, it was the uninspiring lack of creativity for me that never really caught anyone by surprise. So That's something I want to see. That's a juice, a sauce that I want to see. Sauce. Whoop. Salute. That's a sauce that I want to see on defense to sort of spice things up from that realm. And that could come in a lot of facets. So I want a coach that is inspiring that. It could be defensive coordinator, but all the positional coaches are probably going to get flushed out for the most part. Maybe Chris Harris Jr. stays because AG likes him a lot, and he seemed fine in his own specific positional role. If he wants to keep him, that's fine. But that's what I want to see wherever that comes from a defensive standpoint. That is something. All right, Wudi. Of course, the question that started off the press conference, and Ritzamini even set it up that way. He said, hey, this is a question on every Jets fan's minds out there in the universe. Hey, Darren Mougey, how in the hell, he didn't say it quite like this, but how in the hell are you going to solve the quarterback position? And Mougey said they will, quote, exhaust every option. And at the end of that process, they will end up with a, quote, good solution at the quarterback position for the New York Jets, whether that's one guy or multiple guys. What is your confidence level, James Wudi, in the Jets ending up with a good solution at the quarterback position? And what do you make of them exhausting every option, which obviously could be trade, free agency, draft, multiple. Again, let me put it this way. I'd be stunned if it's not multiple things. If they just signed everyone and drafted no one, that would surprise me. If they drafted multiple and didn't sign anyone, that would surprise me. So I expect them to, quote unquote, exhaust every option as they're building out this room. But what say you? So confidence level, they end up with a good solution, which is what Mougey predicted, and the exhausting of every option and looking at it, turning over every stone.
They are definitely turning over every stone. That's one thing I do think that they do. They say it every time, and I believe them because so far they've gotten players from a whole bunch of different places. So, in terms of that, yeah, I do believe that. Will they actually find someone good? Good being the
good solution.
Word.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, a good solution. I'm gonna have to say nah, probably not. I mean, they fumbled so bad with Fields, and I feel like not you specifically, maybe you actually, but too many people like act like, oh, what could he do? His hands were tied, like he was, in a corner, and he had to choose Justin Fields, and that's one of the most false statements like that. Anyone can make. Like, there were plenty of options in free agency. He obviously had a QB already on the roster, but Fields was their guy. And, like, to fail that miserably, like, that's just a taste in my mouth that I haven't been able to shake. So I'm just really nervous that they just, get hard eyes over the wrong guy again. I mean, I would love, to me, best case scenario, my man's sitting in Cancun right now. Lamar Jackson, they said, 2 firsts or something. Like, if that is the cost, like, if we're talking, that is the cost, I would do that 10 out of 10 times. No sleep loss, no hesitation. Find me the button so I can push it right now. Joe Burrow's a name that they've said, obviously there would need to be some communication with Joe before that, because we're not trying to have Andrew Luck out here just, retire in August, and leave us in a real situation. But like, those are things that I would consider good. Let's say Dante Moore doesn't declare for the NFL draft. That's possible.
Sure. Yeah.
How good are we gonna be looking at the draft, at QB? Now, you kind of have to pick up some vet, and I would say, like, all vets kind of have a pretty similar ceiling. There's a few exceptions, and Kyler Murray is one of them. I know people hate that name. They start breaking out in hives when they hear that name. But I mean, this dude is still in his 20s, he can pretty much do everything on a football field. Consistency has been one of his issues. Protection has been another. And you would imagine the protection is going to be way better over here. So all this ramble to say that I feel like they're going to just be head over heels. Maybe they've learned their lesson with doing that, being head over heels and just, chasing the one bell of the ball. But I just don't believe in their ability to evaluate quarterbacks. There's that word again. Take a shot. So I'm gonna have to say on a scale of 1 to 10, 4 in terms of the 2026 QB situation. And I'll define, because you can say good is a subjective word. So when I say good, I mean a QB that is top 20 in like all the classic stats, like yards, touchdowns, and all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's well said. I'll say this, a quick follow-up on Kyler Murray, because I agree. Like, people are like, hide your children. Jesus, Kyler Murray, that's disgusting. And here's just a stat in my research, because ESPN put out this article, smart on them, for every team's season that is over. They gave all these things, like things to watch out for this offseason. Here's your number 1 priority. Here's your number 2 priority. Here's a bold prediction. Here's something on contract extensions. And the bold prediction subsection of the ESPN article is the Jets will trade for Kyler Murray from the Arizona Cardinals, and they'll give up like nothing, like a 7th round pick, because the Cardinals are screwed. So the Jets would acquire Kyler Murray for nothing, and he would be their quarterback for at least 2026. And so I started reading some numbers on Kyler, because I already knew that like his overall numbers are very good if you just unbiased look at his numbers. But this number, I didn't realize he was this good. Kyler Murray, if he has one more average season, so he averages in a normal year between 450 and 500 rushing yards per season. If he has one more average season, that's what it's not a career high. That's not a nothing. That's just what he normally operates with on a year-to-year basis, even including the shitty year he just had. He averages between 450 and 500 rushing yards. If he gets that in 2026, he would surge into the top 10 all-time rushing yards list among quarterbacks. He'd be one of the most dynamic running quarterbacks we've had in the history of the game. And I feel like people don't realize that. Like, they don't understand what he brings to the table. Again, is there extracurricular activity? Of course, you have to investigate that if you're the Jets and make sure the leadership questions, and there's all kinds of other things that are in his bio that have to be checked off. Why the hell the Cardinals getting rid of him? What's going on there? And try to figure that out. So I just wanted to sprinkle that in on the quarterback conversation. I see we got a super chat in here, so let's divert off course here for a second. Fighter Jet Baby has something to say. Appreciate it. Let's go.
Wow.
Oh, God. AG will be fired next year! Exclamation point. You can't allow him to waste our picks this year. He can't coach. Jets fans have never been more demoralized than after today. So there's a lot to unpack here. First off, will he be fired next year? That's a prediction. I don't believe that's going to be the case.
In Jesus' name we pray.
Let's put that piece aside for a second. We can't allow him to waste our picks this year. I've got bad news. Bad news, Barrett. I've got some bad news for you. He was just at the end of season press conference, folks. He's going to be here this year, quote unquote, 2026. So whether you like it or not, and you're like, geez, he's going to waste our picks, he is going to waste the picks. He's going to be involved in this process. So that part of it, you just got to cope with the therapist because it's happening. He can't coach. I don't know if we can say that he can't coach. I don't know if I can say he can coach because we need to see it. But to just say he can't, I mean, I don't know. It's a limited sample size. So that one I'd like to punt on for now. But that Jets fans have never been more demoralized than after today. Fighter Jet, how long have you been a fan? There's been a lot of demoralizing moments in our history, but this is the line that you draw. No, this 3-14 year, this is the most demoralized we've ever been. I'm not so sure. I was demoralized to all end with Adam Gase. I have not reached that point with it. To me, again, it's to each, everyone can perceive this how they want. To me, I remember being demoralized in the Adam Gase era 5 years ago, and that was devastating. My entire life sucked. I was like, oh, this is awful. It just was terrible. Yeah, it affected me to such a level. I'm not there yet for AG, so I don't. You could speak for yourself, Fighter Jet, or maybe some Jet fans that feel that way. I don't feel like I'm the most demoralized I've ever been today with the New York Jets.
I do feel pretty bad. I can't lie. The Adam Gase, that 1 year, like the 2-14 year. Yeah, that was bad. That was bad. But I did have, more hope, I guess, for the future that we would bring in, a coach that we could respect and, do something with the picks. Whereas like now I don't But we don't have that because we're sticking with the same coach, who was worse than Adam Gase. So I can definitely understand being more demoralized right now than after that Gase year.
Here's some context, by the way. Fighter Jet says, I've been a fan since I was 13. I'm 41 now and a season ticket holder. He reiterates that he's never been more demoralized than he is right now.
I respect that. I respect that. Since we're looking at comments, I know a little bit because you guys are firing up the comments. I love the engagement today. But Boss Girl 8, who I want to shout out, one of my newest followers on Take Flight Talk. Much respect. Asked a question on the channel. Do I want Glenn to be bad? I definitely do not want Glenn to be bad. You know what best case scenario is that the Jets go 17-0 and I gotta eat crow like that. Eric Glenn is the GOAT. Like wow, 17-0, best team of all time, and we all hype in January. And you guys can keep saying, yo, but Wudi, you remember when you said this? Remember? Yeah, remind me every single day. I'll still be hyped in January watching New York Jets playoff games. The unfortunate thing is that that's a pipe dream, right? That's not gonna happen. And that's what I try to warn you guys in the future so that we're not surprised. And that's what I did with Justin Fields. You guys refuse to believe me. I keep trying to do it. And y'all don't believe me, and then we come here, and then it's like, oh, how did we get here? I'm trying to tell you how we got here. I'm trying to be the GPS. So just to make it crystal clear, I want Aaron Glenn, as long as he's the head coach of the New York Jets, to go 17-0 every season. But he is not. He does not have the ability to do that. I don't know if he has the ability to win 8 games, 7. Can he win 5? You know, we do not know. We do not know. What we do know is that he can tank. You know, he can change course on guys that he's so high on. He can say, how can you ask me that question? And then bench that same player 2 quarters later. We know he can change his mind. And we know he can fire people. That's what we know about Aaron Glenn.
I'm glad that Bosco asked this, so Wudi had to answer. We got it. But I think there are people in the fan base. I don't know how many. I can't put a percentage on it. There are people in the fan base that are absolutely that in the hiring cycle last year did not want a first-year coach nor a defensive coach. So they got bingo on their little card. Geez, I got 2 on the same line. You got a bingo there. And those same people have seen the first year of AG and going, man, I knew it. This guy sucked. You got to get rid of him. You got to ditch him. And now that the Jets are clearly keeping him, they're going to be like, man, I hope the fucking Jets sink and tank down to the ground in 2026. And then I'm going to be, whoever this person is going to be doing a victory lap a year from today in 2027 saying, see, you losers. Now let's go find a head coach. There are going to be people that do that, I believe. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you know, unfortunately, there are you know, victory lappers out there, but I'm not one of them. Like my number one goal in life is to end the longest playoff drought in North American sports. That's what I need, and I will feel no happiness unless the New York Knicks win a NBA Finals. Feel no happiness.
Oh, now we're talking about pipe dreams. Oh, fun. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Oh, look at you,
dude. That was. Let me get my math straight. There was 50 some odd years ago. 1973 was the last one. When 2026? Come on. Well, you got the NBA Cup. Yeah, did you guys hang that banner? Nice.
No, actually, because we want the real thing.
Well, I bet you do. Bet you do. Let me Fighter Jet saying there's a 95% chance we win less than 3 games. Come on, man. Come on. We have won less than 3 games. We have less than 3 games twice in our history. Twice. 2 times.
That's so funny.
We have a 66-year history. And you're telling me that like there's a 95% chance that something that's only happened twice in 66 years is happening? 2 and 14 was the 5 years ago or 6 years ago. Now the new year, I got to get used to that. 6 years ago, we went 2 and 14. And then a cajillion years ago in 96, we went 1 and 15. You're telling me there's a 95% that I didn't go to school for math. I don't believe that math, Fighter Jet. I don't believe that math at all, as a matter of fact.
I mean, I don't know about the probability. It definitely could happen, but 95% is a little high. It's a little high. Let's highlight my guy, my man. I always love hearing from him. Yo Holmes. One of the few of the products. I feel like if you wanted AG in April, you are still team AG right now.
Is this the comment you're looking for?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
If you didn't want him, like to Boy Green's point, if you wanted an experienced head coach, if you wanted an offensive head coach, then you are doing your victory, thing right now. But this is a rare case, Yo Holmes, and he let us know. Thank you for sharing your story. A rare case where he was all in April for AG, but he has seen the light. He has seen that this man is an unbelievable fraud, clown coach. Okay. So I just wanted to highlight Yo Holmes. Thank you for sharing your story with us.
No.
It's true.
No. Yeah. I hope I'm never married to Yo Holmes. He was all in, and then after week 3, I'm all out. What? 3 weeks in to a 5-year contract, you're all out after this one's over. What in the name of how is that? What? That's crazy. That is bonkers. After 3 weeks, and by the way, let's take a freeze frame on the first 3 weeks of the season. They lose on a 60-yard field goal, the longest field goal of Chris Boswell's career in week 1. Week 2, fine. They get their teeth kicked down their throat by Buffalo. And then we lose on a last-second drive from Tampa Bay. And after those 3 specific weeks, you're done with AG? Get the hell out of here. Come on, man. If you're done after these past 5 weeks, Jesus, we got blown out by 23-plus points in every game. While that's crazy, I would understand that a little bit more. After 2 last-second losses out of 3 games, you're like, out on this guy. Unbelievable. Good Lord.
The eyes don't lie. He has failed the eye test.
That's tough. Here's one on your boy. One of your last jerseys you have in that closet of any relevance. Breece Hall was brought up.
the last guy
for now. We'll see. We'll see how long that stands. AG and Mougey were asked, "Hey, straight up, do you want Breece Hall back?" At first, they both looked at each other like, "Oh, is it both of us? Who wants to speak first?" Because they were both at the podium, and then they both leaned into the mic and said that at the same time, "Yeah, of course we want Breece back. Yeah, talented players. We want Breece back. Why wouldn't we want Breece back?" And then a follow-up came. They said, "Would you use the franchise tag?" I'm sorry? Would you use the franchise tag to keep Breece? And Darren Mougey goes, I don't play in hypothetical land. Who knows? Basically. For those who don't know, the franchise tag is $14.14 million among annual salaries of running backs. That would make Breece Hall the 4th highest paid running back in football. Again, a franchise tag is, of course, 1 year. That's not a long-term deal. But just to explain where that stands, it would be the 4th highest paid running back in football. I'll turn it to you, Wudi. Okay, you can lean into your microphone, hopefully a little quicker than Darren Mougey and Aaron Glenn did. Is Breece Hall going to be back next year? Do the Jets have to use the franchise tag to make that happen?
I don't think they will have to use the franchise tag. I unfortunately don't think he will be a Jet. Makes me so sad to say. I don't think he will because I do believe them that they want Breece back. They want good players. That's what they both were kind of in the process of saying. Mougey was able to get it out a little bit cleaner. Hey, we always want good players. He's a good player. We want him back. But I just didn't feel that urgency. And if I'm Breece sitting at home, I don't feel that urgency of this is, one of our foundational players. This guy is absolutely key. If we want to build, if we have a Dante Moore, if we have a Fernando Mendoza, this guy is one of the building blocks to ensure that, that guy, that young QB develops and that, our offense can run smoothly. They didn't stand 10 toes down. I don't even know if they stood 5 toes down. They obviously said positive things, but we'll see if there's a team out there that can flash a little bit of money. I mean, I was looking at the, after I saw that quote, actually, I was looking at the free agent running backs and, I would really only say there are 3 that are comparable in both talent and age to Breece Hall. That would be Kenneth Walker, Travis Etienne, And after this breakout season from Javonte Williams, you gotta give him his respect. They're all under 27. And then of course you can look up their individual stats or what they have accomplished in this league. And can you believe that the only person that the market value according to Spot Track has above $8.5 million is Breece Hall. And that might be because he's 24.
Youngest. Yeah, right,
he's the youngest by far. So, I just feel like the Jets, it would be a real big mistake. Now, if you got like Kyler Murray in there who might not need, the crutch as much, the difference between, Breece and Kenneth Walker might not be that large. But again, if we're going the young QB route, or they don't even have to be young. They could be like Malik Willis, just like a fairly inexperienced QB route. I think it's very important to have a running back that can also catch out the backfield and also line up and be an outlet that I would not say Kenneth Walker is that good at. That's why they got Charbonnet in there all the time. When I lined up against those guys that I named, I'm taking Breece out of all of them. And again, he's young. I still think he is underutilized. So I hope to God that they can make something work. But I just don't think they value him as much as he should be valued. They obviously like him, but I think they should love him.
That the battles from first grade. Do you like or do you love me? Well, what's the truth? We've been battling it for our entire lives. I see this from CBW. Would Boy Green tag Hall? I think if the Jets want to retain Breece Hall and guarantee he doesn't hit the open market, I think they will have no choice. They could transition tag, but for those who don't know, we'll have to do another show. It'll make sense. We'll do a franchise tag show if that happens, and we can explain what the differences are between non-exclusive, exclusive, transition, price differences, optionality differences, what they all mean, and we could do a whole show on that. That's a whole franchise tag 101. Students, take your seats. We'll do a whole show on that in the future, but the bare minimum, I think they may have to, because here's the thing. Now, making a decision based on a decision you made previously isn't always the most tried and true strategy. That shouldn't past experiences should not motivate your future. Sometimes that can work, but for this specific case I'm referencing, the Jets had a 4th round pick on the table from the Chiefs. They said, blow me. No thanks. 3rd round pick. They didn't want to do it. So now Breece is about to be a pending free agent. The Jets have, depending on the outlet you pay attention to, right now have between $75 and $100 million in cap space. They're going to spend a lot, which is going to cancel most of any comp picks they potentially would have received otherwise, which means if you lose Breece Hall to the open market, you're not getting diddly for him, so you lost him for nothing. So if you're the Jets, you're intrinsically motivated to keep him at bare minimum for 2026 or to try a tag and trade or employ one of those kinds of strategies based on your lack of a decision at the deadline. So if I'm Breece Hall, I don't take a sweetheart deal from the Jets. If the Jets offer me a contract and I'm willing to take it before free agency, I better be overpaid. If not, thanks, Jets, but no thanks. I'm going to test the market. I think I'm the best running back available. We can debate. Wudi brought up some great names there. Travis Etienne's awesome. Kenneth Walker's hurt all the time, but he's super talented. I think if I'm Breece Hall, I think I'm definitely the youngest, and I'm the best running back of all of these cats that are out there. Potential upside and all this. Jets, I don't think your number you're giving me before free agency is going to top the number I get. So for all those reasons, I'm out. I'm going to hit the market. And then the Jets' only choice, if Breece reaches that conclusion or his agent does, is franchise tag him. Then he can't hit the open market, and you have an exclusive negotiating window for a couple of months till the middle of June, beginning of July, to try to work out a long-term deal or just play things out on the one-year deal. So long story short, I would tag him for optionality, whether that's a tag and trade. Oh, Chiefs, you want him? Now's your chance, big boys. Yeah, you remember that 3rd round pick? You remember the price? Give me a call. Maybe it's a 3rd-round pick. Maybe that's how they do it. Tag and trade. Move him. Tag and keep him, because to your point, Wudi, man, they could use Aaron, I don't know what is the identity for most of the football team, but one of the things they want to do is run the football. Well, Breece Hall is your best running back on the team. Wouldn't you want to keep him? Unless you have some Jeremiah Love plan in the draft, which we could get into some other machination when we talk mock drafts later. But I would tag Hall, and I think the Jets are going to tag Hall too. So I think one way or the other, he is a Jet in 2026. I do.
Well, I guess my thing is that, like, clearly the market for Breece isn't as deep as we thought. If you know it's really, we're harping on that one deal from the Chiefs. And they weren't even willing to raise their price. I don't like I feel like,
but it looks like a mistake though, right? Because the Chiefs ended up folding like a used lawn chair. So from Chiefs' perspective, sure, they weren't willing to pay the price. Doesn't that speak something to the priest? It speaks something to the temple of regret and going to their priest and saying, Father, forgive me, for I have sinned of not giving up the required pick to acquire Breece when I should have, and should have been penny pinching with the 4th and 3rd when we've got Patrick bleeping Mahomes.
But do they? Because he tore his ACL. So,
well, what about? They have Gardner Minshew. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
He tore his ACL. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I gave you a setup joke there, Wudi, but that's okay.
You did. I know, but I was still on my original point. I was trying to get back.
Oh, yes, right. Let's get back to the main train.
That I feel like you're acting like free agency is the upside down or something. The Demogorgon.
Oh, wow. Good reference. Okay.
But like, it's also possible that he experiences free agency and his best deal is very similar to what the Jets offered. And now you're in a situation where it's like, okay, well, I can, upgrade, because pretty much any team would be an upgrade for the Jets. I can upgrade my situation, or I can tell the Jets, like, yo, this is what I'm getting. Would you up it? Just to be more specific, the best deal I'm getting is 10 for 3 years from the Texans. They are a playoff team. They are amazing. Do you want to keep me by throwing in that extra 2 per and give me that 12 per year? And I think in that scenario, I think that the Jets would do it. No tag, I think that's how that would work. But yeah, I don't know if
follow up on what you just said. So quick follow up on what you just said. So first off, do you believe that Breece would give the Jets the chance to match? That he would, whatever he gets in free agency, he's like, hey, Jets, you know what? I got this deal, and I could just take it and not talk to you, but I'll give you a chance. You want to match this or try to beat it? Do you think Breece would do that?
I do. Like, that's why I said it, because
right. Well,
like
we're talking about options here,
if the deal is similar enough, like if the Jets offer 8, right, and then the Texans offer 10, I don't think he's gonna go back to the Jets talking about, yo, can you like up this? But if they offer like a very similar deal, I think he would go back and just try to get more out of the Jets. They're a little bit more of a desperate team, and it's also the devil versus the devils you don't. So I think all things considered equal, he would give them a shot, and I think they would up it, and boom, now he's getting the most possible money he could, and he got, with the Devils he knows.
There is something to be said for that. To me, I have we all have this in fantasy football or free agency past. I go back to the Sun God. He goes by many names. Chosen One, Robbie Anderson with a Y, Robbie Anderson with an IE. And the Jets and Joe Douglas and the whole team are like, damn, what do we believe Robbie Anderson is worth? And they have people in the room that say, hey, we think he's worth $10 million per year. That's what they have people in the building for. They're a pro personnel department. We project free agency. What wide receivers is he competing with? What teams will be interested? What we think, a 10 million or 5 million or 8 million, whatever the number is. They make it up and beep, boop, bop. Here, Joe Douglas, here's what we think. And then you make a calculated risk. You let that player hit free agency. You're like, he's not going to get this in the market. We know it. He's not going to get the Giants with the Saquon Barkley. Hey, do we franchise tag him? They had this debate on Hard Knocks. Do we franchise tag him? Do we not? What teams would be interested? Nah, no one's going to pay. No one's going to pay up. It's this. And then they were wrong. and then he had the greatest season of all time for the Eagles and running backs ever had and won a Super Bowl. It's all in their face. So it's just about risk of like letting him out there, and you beep boop bop. Brees Hall's worth $8 million. No one's going to beat that. And then you hit the open market. You're like, fuck, we were wrong. Someone immediately beat it. Damn it. And then, and that's what I mean. So like the question, because Indy says it, Brees is going to find out, the value is so high. Sure. That's within the realm of possibilities. We have to consider that. But Wudi, are you willing to risk it? Are you willing to risk the last years you have in that closet of actually mattering a damn in free agency and say, you know what, Brees, go test the market, buddy. Go. And you're so confident, the Jets are so confident, our top offer, whatever it is, 8, 9, 10, whatever it is, we don't think it's going to get beat. So go ahead, test them. You do that if you're confident as bleep. You're like, he's going to patrol around, and he's going to come back with his tail tucked between his legs and, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, baby. Yes, I'll take the Adam Sandler thing from Happy Gilmore. That's what's going to happen. Come back. But are you willing to risk it, James Wudi?
My Quinnen jerseys will always mean something. I just wanted to say that he's a dog.
I don't know if you're convincing me or convincing yourself, but sure. Okay.
I'm letting you know. I'm actually explaining to you. I'm informing you.
Yeah. Okay.
As a good friend would. With the Brees thing, well, I guess that's something you would actually know like now, like, you know, before free agency, based on the communications that you're having now. If Brees is feeling good and, you know, like depending on your relationship with him, that's where you say like, okay, you know, you can do your thing and trust that, you know, he'll come back. Or if you just feel like, you know, the relationship is kind of rocky, kind of icy, you know, that he's like super excited about all these different things, then okay, damn, he's probably not gonna hit us back up. So that's something that they should actually be aware of like right now, as they're you know, they said that they just spoke to him yesterday. So you know, I unfortunately am not privy to that information, but based on AG's track record of talking to people, you know, yeah, maybe they should just franchise tag him because he don't know how to act.
Okay, agree or disagree? Darren Mougey, when asked about his supporting cast on offense, this isn't coaches related, this is players, right? Garrett Wilson, Mason Taylor, Jeremy Rucker, Brees Hall, offensive line, all the jazz. Do you feel good about your supporting cast, Darren Mougey, heading into this offseason or not? Geez, I don't feel good about it at all. Darren Mougey said, oh, yeah, I feel good about it. And he listed all those players I just said. And the most important thing he said is that offensive line, baby. That's the heartbeat of all of this. Like that, I feel really good about the supporting cast, and they name dropped everyone else. Do you, James Wudi, feel good about the Jets supporting cast of players? And basically what we're really asking is, if a quarterback was dropped in here, would you feel good about the supporting cast he currently has at his disposal?
Yes, I do feel good about it. That's why I was so hyped at the possibility of getting Fernando. I think this is the best situation we've drafted somebody into a long time. You know, unfortunately, Sam, you know, I hate to bring that up. My God, number one in the NFC, you know, doing his thing. But you know, we gave him Rashad Perriman as wide receiver one. You know, Frank Gore, 95-year-old Frank Gore as running back one. If you look at that team, and then look at the very next year, there are so many guys that aren't even in the league anymore. You know, we did not properly build. But what we have for, you know, Dante or Fernando were to fall, I agree. You have an offensive line. If Brees is on the team, you have a competent running back. You have sure hands in Mason Taylor. You have a bona fide wide receiver one in Garrett Wilson. This is definitely the best situation that a QB would be drafted in recent Jets history, for sure.
And I concur. I think there's more work to be done, of course. Garrett Wilson's needs a 2 or 3, maybe both, depending on how you feel, I guess, about Adonai, who I think is an upside play. I'd probably have him, if in a perfect world, we'll see if this works out, I'd have him as my wide receiver 4, and if he's surprised and he's 3 or 2, woo, great. But I'm not relying on him to be in that position personally. So let's add some more receivers. Jeremy Rucker gets re-signed, so you have Ruck and Mason. Your running back room, Braylon should be healthy. Isaiah should be healthy. Brees, again, at this point, he's on the roster until proven otherwise. So All right. There's a little something there, perhaps. All right, let's Woody, first off, give some plugs to Take Flight Talk Baby here on the program. Please do so. Let's throw it up here, baby. Come on, give some
Yes,
plugs, James Woody.
absolutely. Take Flight Talk. I mean, that's where you're hearing all of the unfiltered, well, not, that I filter my thoughts anyway, but just pure James Woody reactions, news, all that. We got our flagship show also called Take Flight Talk. We might have the best theme song in the biz. I don't know. But that's with Abby, who's been covering the Jets for, a lot of years now. I want to say like a decade. And then, Michael K, who is a college running back. So his insight with the X's and O's and how he's able to break down what he's seeing. And it's a beautiful thing. A lot of things that we kind of see late, he is seeing in real time. So it's a lot of insight on that show, a lot of fun. And then, of course, this show, Boy Green Meets Wudi, we hear every Tuesday, every Thursday, 3 p.m. I've seen a lot of you guys in the comments from Take Flight Talk. So, this is only the beginning. We trying to take flight for real.
Hell to the yeah, baby. Make sure you guys, again, subscribe now to youtube.com/@TakeFlightTalk. Again, we're streaming live in 5 different destinations. We have a couple of quickies to finish off, Woody, if you still have time.
Of course. They call me the finisher.
All right. I'll answer a quick question real quick before we get back to him. I see Indy asking, Uncle Indy asking, BG, how about Notre Dame's RB2? Yeah, that's Jadarian Price. Everyone talks about Jeremiah Love, and for good reason. He's a superstar. But Jadarian Price, sometimes you get this in college football where you have an awesome number 2, but they're sort of either buried by the RB1 or people just forget about them because of the presence of the RB1. Yeah, he's a guy on day 2 of the draft, I think, is where he's going to go. 2nd or 3rd round, probably more so 3rd round, but we'll see. There's a whole, offseason all-star process and everything else that has to get figured out here. If I was the Jets, I'd be very interested in adding some more running back juice to this room. I guess it also depends on what the hell is going to happen here with Breece Hall as well, obviously. So that's another factoid that gets thrown in. But yes, we'll be doing deep dives. Woody, our boy, of course. None other than Ryan Roberts, who's a Notre Dame guy himself, so he can even speak more to Jadarian Price. But also, he does our draft breakdowns. Remember, we did those big episodes, offense, defense, up for the draft, and those were overflowing with content, Woody.
Yes, that's my guy. Love his breakdowns. That's when we learn the most, honestly. Like, after I speak with him, now my draft board is like 100% complete. I know who we need. And even in the later rounds, instead of it just being some random dude from some random place, it's like, damn, Ryan has spoke with us because his knowledge is not just the first 32. He is hundreds and hundreds of prospects. He knows them inside and out. He know where their mama live. He know all the different ins and outs of their, journey on and off the field. So this dude, he is an encyclopedia, if people still use those, of knowledge. Wikipedia, if you will, of knowledge. Sure. That's our guy for sure.
Yeah, by the way, Jadarian Price, he's 22 years of age. He's 5'11", just over 200 pounds. He can run the football. He can catch a football. And pass protection, I think, is a good one. Why? So many people may be interested in some Jadarian Price. And by the way, I went to the Notre Dame-Syracuse game, and Ryan Roberts knows people there. And he said, hey, just use my name in a place or two, and, people know me. And he said it. I'm like, what, do they? And then I used it at a restaurant, and they went, Ryan Roberts? And I went, get the hell out of here. So when I visited South Bend with my dad, he, we got some Ryan Roberts perks, which a hell of a part of the story. So thank you, Ryan Roberts, for that Golden Domer experience. I told you, Woody, that we would only play a couple of clips today from the AG Mougey presser outside of what we talked about in grabbing quotes. There's one I want to put up here, and I'm just curious your response. So we're going to go to the tail of the tape here. I'll give you guys a question, but you'll also hear it. You should hear it from Brian Costello on the mic level of the questioner in the audience. AG is asked, did they overestimate the roster? Did they think it was more talented and better than they thought? And then a harsh realization, basically, like, geez, this roster sucks. AG was asked that question. Here is that cue and answer from AG.
When you look back to last year,
Yep.
Brad Darren, I'm sure you've thought about this before today in recent weeks.
Yeah.
Do you think you overestimated the roster? Do you think you overestimated the talent that was on the roster, whether it be that you inherited
Yeah.
or going into training camp?
I can't say that. I think it's a lot of, and I said this after the game, I put a lot of it on me as far as just the wins and losses. And I would really say it like that. I put a lot of it on me on the wins and losses, and I have to do a better job. And I'm not going to sit here and blame it on the roster. I'm not going to sit here and blame it on the coaching staff. I'm going to blame it on the guy that's sitting right in front of you, and I got to do a better job. And I'm always say that, and until I get the whole situation situated, then we'll be better, which I know we will next year.
I love the accountability. I'm going to taint the question I throw over to you here, Wudi, but he had an opportunity to blame it on the roster, blame it on other things, and he said directly that this is on me and nobody else. I take it right here on the chin. The wins and losses are my fault, and I have to be better. And yeah, he said that pretty emphatically, Wudi. So to me, I really love that answer from AG. You want to see the guy be accountable, and accountability is not an issue here.
Yeah, if he had tried to blame it on them, I would respectfully disagree because it was his fault. All he's doing is telling the truth. It was his fault. I don't think the roster was overestimated. Like you said so emphatically in August. We got an all-pro on all three levels, Wudi. Come on now. Come on, man.
We did.
That
is
that
true.
was, it was. That's what I'm saying, but AG couldn't coach him up, and it was his fault. Wins and losses, and, he probably shouldn't have been brought back, but he's here. He's back. So, we got to accept that, and, let's hope that he can coach somebody because he wasn't able to coach the people that were here. So maybe we can bring in people that he can coach somehow, some way, magically. He can learn how to coach them.
Let's get a super chat in here from Big Green, my long lost brother from another mother.
Wow.
Do we have Rick Spielman still in our front office? Technically, he's in the front office, but wait, honey. Oh, thank you, honey. Gatorade, sure. That's good. I need to hydrate. Appreciate that. Thank you to my very thoughtful daughter for some, what's in this? What are in the Gatorades, Wudi? What is that? The
electrolytes?
There it is. Yeah, baby. Some electrolytes. My brain's failing. So excellent. So some electrolytes. We can only hope. Rick Spielman actually works remotely. I believe he lives down in Florida. So he got to keep that as part of his gig. What a sweet gig. Jets hire 33rd team. Rick Spielman works at the 33rd team. After they do their evaluation, he's like, you know what? I recommend myself for a hire. And they're like, all right, I guess that makes sense. I mean, we just hired you for this, so sure, we accept the recommendation. You're hired. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to come to the office sometimes, but I want to stay here at my house and sort of work remotely. They're like, all right. So yeah, he is part of the front office. What is he doing from his computer at home? That I have no idea. But yes, still part of the front office. So hey, get it while the getting's good, baby. That's for sure. So salute, old Rick Spielman. Last one here, Wudi, that I wanted to get to here is that the question was a little blunt, but it was like, hey man, Wudi, not Wudi. I wanted to blame you, I guess, for everything that happened. AG, with your defensive background and how shitty the quarterbacks played, like, do you guys have the right infrastructure? I'm actually going to pair two questions that happened during the press conference. We'll finish off with this. So he was asked about the infrastructure, saying, like, you're a defensive guy and your quarterback sucked this year. So what belief should the fans have that the infrastructure is correct or will be correct, whatever guys you add, to make them feel good? And then also they were asked, what is your message to the fans? Because this season sucked. What's your message to the fans that you guys are the right people to turn this around? And Aaron Glenn pounded the table that they have a vision to help turn this thing around. But the thing that I appreciate about the answer was he said, we need to earn the trust back from the fans. Because, I hope they have trust, is basically what they said, but we got to earn it. I am not naive to that. I understand that based on everything that's happened, that there's not these obvious results that they're going to do it. And then AG also said at the end of his answer, as a follow-up question, he met with Woody Johnson already, and Rich Smith asked, is there a sense of urgency? Like, we got to get our shit together here because I could be fired. And he said, I always have a sense of urgency, but coming off of that conversation with Woody, we all know what Woody wants. He wants to win just like we do. So, yes, coming off that, there is an urgency to win. So package all that together, Woody, because it's all the perception. Because the fan base, a strong piece of them, I hate to generalize, but a strong piece of them, like, why should we believe in this? You guys are just 3-14. They're telling me all of a sudden now we're going to give you all these weapons of draft picks and cap space, and suddenly now you're going to fix it. And he says, AG says, we have to earn the trust back of the fans.
Part of that quote, he actually said he expects the full trust of the fans.
He does. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure how well you're paraphrasing the words that he actually said.
But he did say earn. There was a quote in there that he said, I understand that I have to earn the trust of the fans. You know what? We can the only reason I didn't play the clip was it's 3 minutes. So I if you want me to play the full clip, we could hear it straight from AG's mouth.
No, it's okay because it's all bullshit anyway. So
Wow.
really, yeah, I don't believe nothing this man says. He's already said a whole lot of things that have not turned out to, be in fruition or that come to fruition. Obviously there has to be a sense to win now. That is what we're trying to do as a fan base, as an organization. And, he said that he was going to win now just last season and he blew it all up himself. So, yeah, I don't believe it. I think it's a whole bunch of nonsense. I don't think he has earned any trust from the fans. When you just look, and a lot of the fans that do still, do everything besides blame Aaron Glenn, I think it's, he's a former Jet. He's a nice guy. He's, passionate. He cares about the team. And I think all of that, but none of that actually, produces results. That's what we're looking at. We're looking at the results of what he has done. And what he has done is given the second worst Jets season in the history of the franchise that already stinks, and one of the worst seasons just in general in NFL history. So I don't understand how we're supposed to trust that. And then when you talk about the specific issues like QB, like we already saw him try to fix it and he failed miserably. Like one of the worst attempts I've ever seen at trying to fix it.
His resources were limited.
What do you mean his resources were limited?
There weren't a lot of great options. So like
there were plenty of options, Boy Green.
I said good. I said good. Yeah. Brady Cook was an option. He could throw a ball forward. So I guess he was on the table of options. You're saying there were plenty of options. I'm saying there weren't a lot of good. Good is subjective, as we discovered earlier on this show. But there were not a lot of good options available at quarterback. If there were, please fill me in. I'd love to learn.
What do you mean? They could have had Daniel Jones. Was Daniel Jones not a free agent? He had a solid season.
I did not believe he was coming back to New York, but sure, let's count
with the Colts. I'm saying they could have had a whole litter of QBs. They chose Justin Fields. Are you in the new day now?
Yeah, perhaps, but that's what I'm saying. You say there was a lot of options. I'm saying there weren't a lot of good options. You say Daniel Jones, and I'll give you a tip of the cap. I don't believe he would have ever come back to New York.
I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't high on Daniel Jones then, but what I'm saying.
Okay. But he ended up being good. And I'm just saying, what other options were out there? Please fill me in. Daniel Jones, I'll give you. Who else was out there that could have been signed by the Jets that they didn't and went with Justin Fields? So he missed in his evaluation of the market. He missed.
No, hold on. Because clearly, first of all, you're missing the point of what I was trying to say. You keep doing that. But I obviously wanted Aaron Rodgers, so I wasn't even looking at the free agents class. But let's take a step back with the Justin Fields decision that you want to excuse. I know you love AG. Justin Fields, I felt like was a bad choice. But even if he felt like he could develop Justin Fields, he proved that he can't even get the best out of his own choice. What did he see in Fields that he thought he could bring out and did not bring out? He failed. That has nothing to do with the rest of the pool. If you see something in somebody, and this looks like it's confusing you, so I'll say it slowly. If you've seen something in somebody and you think you can help them translate something to the field, then what happened in between then and then actually coming to the field? Because what you did was kill this boy's career. That's what you did. You didn't build up.
He killed his own career. Come on.
Oh my! Now you guys. Oh my God.
Tapped the side of the helmet. He quit. We haven't spent a lot of time on this, but he quit in the middle of the year with a made-up knee injury. Now I know that's going to piss off Taylor Sterling. I see him in the comment section. But like, let's just be 100. I understand what you're saying. I understand the point of what you're saying is, hey, he identified Justin Fields as his choice, regardless of the other choices, and he thought that arrogantly, I'm going to show him how to really play quarterback. And he was worse than he was with the Steelers. You indicate, wow, if he can't get the best out of his quarterback choice, how do we feel confident about the other choices? I understand the basis in which you speak, but I'm saying that Justin Fields did some own Russell Wilson, CBW. What the hell? I don't know if that's the. I think we're going to the wrong direction, but appreciate the chutzpah. A for effort, I get. Jameis Winston. Again, we can just. I need better options. If Wudi is going to end up giving me the answers to the test, Jameis Winston only played a handful of games this year. That's hard to judge it. He was clear upgrades over this, that, or the other. Although I really like Jameis Winston, I think he's a fun player. But the point is, I don't think there's a lot of good options in place of Justin Fields. Apparently, the pools they were swimming in was Carson Wentz, Marcus Mariota, and Justin Fields, according to Connor Hughes. I don't love those choices. Justin, I thought, was the best of those three choices. But I get your overall point about not getting the most out of Justin Fields. But maybe it's not – it could have been some of the coaching too, because the coaching was questionable with Charles London and some of these guys around. But maybe it's a bad combination of both, that Justin Fields didn't have the chops and the Jets coaching staff sucked. Like, both can be true. That, sure, other teams apparently got more out of Justin Fields than the Jets did, but I don't think that's necessarily just an indictment that this coaching staff is incapable of getting it. Because now let's go to the draft, right? Jets have the number 2 overall pick. To me, the options with the number 2 overall pick, whatever the Jets can pick, is better than what the options were in free agency. So as Aaron Glenn and this coaching staff and team are shopping in the grocery store, they've got a lot better ingredients to work with in terms of their choices at quarterback now than they had last year. So to me, if they get better ingredients and they still can't cook shit, then they're terrible and they're going to get fired. But if as soon as the ingredients increase and the meals taste better, oh, shoot, I guess it wasn't the Fields thing. It was just having better choices, and having better choices immediately paid dividends. Dante Moore's the number 2 overall pick, which my full expectation is he's going to enter the draft to get $50 million from the Jets. God bless. Good job if you could get it. And that is going to have a significant upgrade along with other coaching staff changes. That's where I'm at. James Arthur Wudi.
Not my middle name, but Dante. And then when he doesn't, if he doesn't declare for the NFL draft, what are you doing?
He is declaring. So
no, he has not declared. As of right now, he has not declared. So from the pool of actual prospects that have declared, what's your big plan?
My big plan in terms of the draft is to use the 2nd overall pick, which is really the number 1 overall pick for non-quarterback. So I take the best player available. Could be a pass rusher, could be wide receiver, who knows? It could be anything, and take that. And in free agency, because I'm going to know the Dante Moore decision in either 8 days, that's the first early declaration date, or I'm going to know it by the 22nd or 23rd. That's the national championship date, which I believe is the 23rd. So if he plays through the championship game, we'll know by the 23rd. So we're going to know January 23rd. What's the math on that? So we're going to know about a month and a half before free agency starts who's in the pool. So if Dante's in the pool, we're going to know whatever 45 days before free agency starts. And if not, I'm like, sweet, he's in, great. He's not in, great. trade, free agency, and plus I'm still exploring those waters anyway, even if we get Dante Moore. Even if Dante Moore's in the class, and it's clear as day we're getting him number 2 overall or Fernando, if some craziness happens, I'm still adding other quarterbacks to the room. So my plan is foolproof, baby.
That sounds so nice. Yeah, I mean the fact that the Jets even what's the word? Shorten their pool to just Mariota, Wentz, and
allegedly, right? This is Connor Hughes reporting, right?
I mean that's an alarming stat in itself. So
it could be,
all I'm saying is there's literally no tangible evidence. They chose Brady Cook over Adrian Martinez, which I thought was a crime, and I guess we
have no proof of that, right?
We have no proof of.
So you're saying that I don't want to put words in your mouth. You're suggesting that choosing Brady Cook over Adrian Martinez was a mistake, yes?
Yeah, I mean, if you let me finish my sentence, like maybe once or twice on the show, you would know exactly what I'm saying. But you can continue with this guessing game. Yeah.
Yeah. So the guessing game is that you believe that the Jets made a mistake picking Brady Cook over Martinez, but you have no proof of concept that was a mistake because Martinez never played in an NFL regular season game for the 49ers or the Jets. So you're in made-up fairyland if they made a mistake because you've seen Brady Cook be terrible, and you're just assuming Adrian Martinez would be better than the terrible.
No, I saw them both play in preseason quite a bit, actually. And Adrian Martinez, is that not the point of preseason? Is to evaluate
to determine whether someone's a franchise quarterback or not? No, I don't think.
No, did I say Adrian Martinez is a franchise quarterback?
But how is that?
You spend so much time not even listening to what I'm saying that I don't even know because you arguing with yourself right now.
The beat reporter said that Brady Cook beat out Martinez, and they've seen more of the games than you did and more of the practices. So how do you have new information they don't have?
AG has not shown me one accurate QB evaluation so far. Okay, Brady Cook, watch. Justin Fields, Super Bowl. Justin Fields wasn't even the best player, wasn't even the best quarterback on his team last year, and y'all tried to convince me otherwise. But yes, of course, it makes complete sense that all of a sudden, he's gonna, be a QB whisperer. So keep believing that, and when it's 2027 and we got a new head coach, I'll let you know if we should be confident in our new leader.
This is also accurate information from Taylor Sterling. After the Jets cut Martinez and he cleared waivers, the Jets offered him a spot on the practice squad. He said no thanks and went to San Francisco. So,
is that's supposed to mean something?
Well, to your Adrian Martinez point, that they offered him a spot. It sounded like they ostracized him from the town of New York Jets land. They offered him a spot.
They disrespected him. They chose some bum over him. What are you talking about? Of course, I would do the same thing 10 times out of 10.
I don't blame him, by the way, for the choice. Seeing the path of Justin Fields, Tyrod Taylor, and then what was happening there in San Francisco, I would have chosen San Francisco. They have a better, more proven, clearly offensive coaching staff. I think he clearly made the right choice. And then he got to have his cake and eat it too, because when the Jets desperately needed him, he left the San Francisco 49ers practice squad, jumped on the Jets, made a game check, and then came back. Said, San Francisco, I'll be right back. I'm taking a quick 1 week sabbatical out to New York. I'm getting a paycheck. Psych. Now I'm back and now in the playoffs. So it all worked out for Adrian.
I don't know about worked out, but one guy got to start like 5 games in the NFL, the other one did not. So I don't know if it worked out, but yeah, I mean, we are here, right? We're gonna look at the offseason. We're gonna, see what these guys try to do. But I definitely there's absolutely, if you're, like I said, if you're looking at this rational and not trying to, he was a player, he cares, if you look at just person A, person B, person C, remove the name from the person and just what they're doing, there's absolutely not one reason to feel like this dude even knows how to turn it around, let alone can actually execute a plan to turn it around. So we just gotta wait until it's over.
That is it. Well, folks, thanks for joining us for this very passionate and long Boy Green Meets Wudi episode here. We'll be back on Thursday. Again, there is no regular person that is joining us, but me and Wudi are plenty of men for any of you out there on the program, so I have plenty for you. So we'll be circling back to you on Thursday at 3 o'clock. I will be back tomorrow morning at 7:30. We have plenty to discuss. The Glenn Mougey presser. So more details perhaps on that to come. The Jets' other new defensive coordinator option has emerged for the Jets, which seems crazy. So we'll be talking about that tomorrow on the show as well. And you guys can, of course, stay tuned to all the articles heavy on Jets. Wudi, any final plugs or thoughts?
Yeah, damn. I wish, because you guys asked a lot of great questions. Shout out to Mad Mertz. I was trying to answer this question like 20 minutes ago, but then Boy Green started saying some nonsense about Aaron Glenn, trying to act like he's a QB whisperer. So we got off track. But his question was about Tippmann and like the future of the center position. That's something that's super interesting. I also saw somebody that said that John Simpson. I didn't see this. There was a comment where someone said that John Simpson is hoping to be a Jet next year. He's trying to re-sign. It would be an honor to be on the squad, they said. So I'm definitely very interested to see how the interior shapes up. We still got my guy AVT, who Pro Bowl level when he's on the field, but unfortunately he hasn't been on the field. And that's a super important part of the future of this offense. So definitely appreciate the comments. We will definitely do our best to answer more questions. And this Thursday, we got to put some proof in the pudding, because we do this show, we react to news, but then we also analyze the news. So that is what we're about to do, is analyze our analyses of last year. What we were saying about the team last year. Now that season has happened, and we're going to see Boy Green's takes, we're going to see James Wudi's takes, and we're going to see whose analysis truly analyzed the situation.
I'm not sure what all of those analyzed and analysis and analyses means, but I'm looking forward to Thursday. And yes, several players spoke on what they call baggy day, when teams are eliminated from the playoffs and it's their final day and the offices are cleaning out their locker. John Simpson did speak at his locker and was asked, "Hey, do you want to stay with the Jets?" And he said it was an honor. He said exactly that quote. So whoever said that was accurate depiction of what John Simpson said. And it's going to be a choice, I believe. The Jets will only pick one. Two will enter the octagon. One will leave. John Simpson or AVT. Who's playing left guard for the Jets? I think the Jets will only extend one of them, and we'll see who it is. So looking forward to some of those futuristic conversations as well, Wudi. It was a good one.
Yes, absolutely. Nothing but love. And we'll all be back together soon enough.
Peace out, people. We'll see you. Take